So, my name is Luxshan.
My name is Mikkel.
We do Agile comic strips.
So we do.
So, how many have seen our strips before? Yeah? Wow. How many of you are developers? Yeah, even developers read our strips. Nice. So let's jump into it. We're going to introduce ourselves, but let's just show what the concept is about. And we're going to do two things you're never supposed to do. What's that?
Yeah, first of all, we're going to read from the screen because we can't remember what we've actually done. We've done so much. And the second thing is that we're going to use Comic Sang as a font in our presentations. And you cannot do that.
Thank you. Unless you're a school teacher or you make comic strips, right?
Yeah.
So, we're here with the consultancy firm Agile BS. And here's our plan for your Agile transformation. And of course, Agile BS stands for?
Agile Business Systems.
First, to really understand your organization, we'll observe and analyze your department for some time.
Based on the analysis, we'll design and describe the transformation effort. Following, we'll implement the new Agile processes.
Lastly, we'll test how the transformation works and integrate it with current processes across the organization.
We expect the full transformation to take a couple of years.
This is not funny. This is actually sad. Right? This is taking a waterfall approach to going agile. And this is happening out there. Right? So what we rather want to happen is that you take an agile approach to going agile. Kind of test out if agile is even something for you, right? So identify a product or a product line or a value stream and see if going agile all the way works before you start, spreading it. Instead of going big bang agile, now you have 100 teams running Scrum.
So slicing?
Slicing. Is my mic okay or should we change? Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Whole new experience.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about us. So who are you, Luxshan?
So my name is Luxshan. I'm the one who writes much of this. I'm the agile nerd. And I also have a real job. Then again, I'm an agile coach. So how real is it really? I don't know. I work at a company called Bankdata. We're kind of like BEC and SDC, so Data Central for the banks. So it's kind of like the Jutlandish and much better version of BEC, basically. Yeah, 117 teams, so a lot of frustrations there that turn into comic strips. So I've held different agile roles in my career. Latest at Vestas, where we met. Yeah. Where I used to be a release train engineer. I'm not going to talk too much about that dark period of time.
There's a lot of trauma there.
There's a lot of trauma. And before that, product owner, that was more fun. A background as a software engineer from Aalborg, but I've never been paid to code.
Thank God.
So that's not going to happen, I think. Who are you, Mikkel? Oh, I have a professional mission. I forgot. I want to expose what happens when Agile meets reality. And this is one way of doing it, as you're going to see. Who are you, Mikkel?
Well, my name is Mikkel, and I'm the guy who draws the comic strips and also puts a little bit of sanity in this so people can understand. I work as a user experience specialist at Vestas, some big company doing something modern right now, sustainable energy and all that.
Blah, blah,
pretty modern, yeah. Okay, sorry. I'm actually an architect, so a real architect, not like these hot air architects that we meet in our business, just doing slides and all that.
Have you actually drawn a house that became a house?
No.
Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I've been doing user experience for 20 plus years, and during those 20 years, damn, I feel old.
You are.
It led me to my mission in life is sort of to cut through all the bullshit because we see so much, right?
Cut through the business systems.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And then I just want to do a little bit of a commercial thing. At the end of this slideshow, you're going to see the biggest QR code you're going to see today, at least. 20% on our shop for buying these two books. So that's it.
Wow.
Only in the end, so please stay.
Only buy it if you like this show. Okay? So something is not working, Mikkel.
It is, yeah. So what can we do about it? We can try to articulate what's going wrong so other people can learn from it.
We have so many companies, right, that want to be agile, whatever that means, and they're failing miserably. So our mission is try to talk about it and actually do something about it.
Yeah,
right?
and our approach, it is to laugh, reflect, and improve. It sounds pretty simple, right? And it's so easy to have these big slides, so don't need to explain what's going on. Just can do that. People believe in you. Okay, so laughing. Why is laughing good? Laughing is good because it breaks down the social barriers, and it's actually scientifically proven that teams that laugh together, they have higher performance. So taking this as a stepstone, laugh together, and then maybe reflect on what's going wrong at our end.
But that's all good. But one of the inherent parts of working agile is actually improving, right? So that's the most important part here. So what we want is to kind of trigger people, provoke them a bit, to kind of think of what's happening when all these agile theories meet reality. How can we actually improve? It's built into Scrum, and in Scrum they call it empiricism, that you actually base your decisions on facts, on experiences. So when you want to do improvements, let's look at what actually doesn't work.
Yes, and we normally do it like this. We've got 4 panels in a comic strip, and we've developed a pattern or a method for doing this.
So we're going to read some of the text now. This, in the first panel, this is where we normally set the scene by having someone introduce or reiterate some sort of concept or theory.
And where you, Luxshan, pretend to know a lot about this agile stuff.
Yes. And then in the second panel or picture, we elaborate on this theory or concept.
And I'm just hoping that I'm getting a chance to draw something with a strong cultural reference.
Yeah. And then in the third picture out of 4, this is where someone applies this new theory in their reality.
And they have really high expectations that it's going to work.
Then finally, it turns out that they totally misunderstood or misapplied the concepts, despite of all the good intentions. And what is Mikkel doing here?
Yeah, I'm drawing Mickey Mouse dancing Gangnam Style in the upside down.
Wow.
Okay, so the first people that we meet in this agile thing, it's these guys, Agile Business Systems.
They're hired, right, by your companies. When they want to go agile, you hire a group of external consultants. They're too expensive and they know too little, but they're here, right? And they start preaching stuff like self-management, right? So besides higher customer satisfaction, going agile generally also increases employee engagement.
Yes, becoming part of self-managing teams is what really make a difference.
And it's on a PowerPoint, right? So it must be true. Yeah. So then a developer, of course, asks, well, we just want to code.
Yeah, just tell us what to do and we'll figure out how.
No, you're empowered and self-managing now.
You can't waste your time coding.
Mm.
Yeah, so come on, as a developer, you see all these meetings, stand up and dailies and whatnot, and yeah, we don't have time for coding.
That could happen, right? Worst case, you have the existing meetings because you're based on some sort of project execution model, so you have those meetings already. Then you go Agile or Scrum, and then you have all the Scrum events on top of that. And then thirdly, if you even scale, you have the scaled events as well. And then you need to do refinement also. So there's no time for coding, right? So let's stick with the events that are actually needed here, right? So we want developers to code as much as possible, adding value, talking to each other on what to code, and with the customer, of course. And I think just having the Scrum events should be enough here, right? They're all about inspecting either our plan, our process, or our product, right? Why all these other meetings about status and budgets and stuff? Then there's no time to code.
Okay, so here's a boss talking to Agile BS. I feel there's a gap between our new Agile organization and our official organizational setup. Click. But I really don't want to push for reorg. It's too much of a hassle.
Yes. Your organization, dear Mikkel, needs a dual operating system.
It does.
Yes, it does. The first operating system is your official organization, and the second operating system is your agile one. In this way, You can do your agile thingy without changing anything in your real organization. Problem solved, right?
Excellent.
So we don't want just to add more stuff on top of the way you're organized or the way your organization is structured, right? We want to kind of rethink it. We're going to align along products or value streams or product lines and whatnot. Because the easiest thing is kind of making this informal organization on top, but people are still forced to, adhere to the traditional organization, right? So we want to shake things up from the beginning, at least in the context that you want to try it out. And if you don't do this, you're going to have a lot of meetings mapping back and forth between agile and project delivery models and bosses and chapter leads and all this stuff.
But all that's just on one person's responsibility. That should be the manager, right? This person.
Oh, he has a plan, doesn't he?
Yeah, he looks happy.
Could even be a project manager.
Yeah. So what is the plan? He comes and tells to the developers, I want you to work on this.
It's not really agile, dear Mikkel, for a manager to tell us what to work on.
Okay, I've got a trick now. I want you to work on this. Notice the cap. It's a product owner cap.
Right away. Right? No, it's okay.
Seems easy.
No, it's okay. You just wear a cap, and then you can then you fit into the agile ways of thinking. So the product owner role is a full-time role, right? And it doesn't have to be a boss who takes up this responsibility and accountability. Right? So you have to look inwards towards the team and what they need to deliver, and outwards towards the market and competitors and so on, and customers. So how can you do all of that and still, have one-to-ones with 15 developers? You can't. You can't do both things, probably. Right?
More about the manager.
Come on, team. Work faster.
Luxshan,
Yes.
can I have a word with you?
Sure.
So when we work agile, we don't pressure our teams to run faster. It's not sustainable, motivational, nor the management approach that we want.
Okay.
Instead, we want to deliver more value frequently to the customer.
Okay. I get it. Come on, team. Add more value.
That's the spirit. But come on, management, they want us to work faster all the time.
Of course.
Do this faster, faster, faster.
So what we want to teach management is that you don't have to look busy to add value, right? 100% utilization is not good. We have a person here who can document that, I think. So we want to not load up our capacities more than 70 or 80%, because if anything unforeseen happens, then it's going to clog up, right? So we want to teach our managers that you're not supposed to look busy or fill up your capacity to add as much value as possible, right?
But you need something in order to do that. You need some sort of safety, right?
Some sort of safety, yeah.
Psychological safety.
So the lack of psychological safety is detrimental to a successful agile transformation. Therefore, dear managers, no one should be punished for errors or questions in the pursuit of continuous improvement or higher performance.
I hear what you're saying. So a little bit later I go to my developers and tell them, yeah, so I want you to know that it's totally fine to voice your opinions, whatever they are.
Okay, then I don't see how line management adds any value to our agile ways of working.
Pack your things.
Okay.
So it's so easy to say psychological safety, but how do we ensure that we actually have that?
Yeah. It's all about culture and stuff, right? There's no short answer for this. But if psychological safety is not prioritized in your organization, then agile is never going to work, right? Psychological safety is about being yourself, right? Still being accountable, but being able to be yourself and failing and, not getting told off because you fail. So start measuring it. At least start making a self-assessment on how psychological safe teams feel they are, right? And it needs to be improved if agile has to work here. But isn't agile only about teams? Is it also about managers?
It's going really well with our agile initiative, and we can all be proud. You can as well.
But Mikkel, we now have Scrum and Kanban teams running as agile release trains. We even call them squads, right, sometimes. But shouldn't we change as managers as well?
You've misunderstood something.
Oh.
Agile is all about the teams.
Okay.
And since we're not part of the teams, it's got nothing to do with us. Now on to something more important, the annual budgeting process.
Yeah.
No comments on that one.
So we need to create a system where agile management or leadership can happen as well, right? If you have all your people, think of all the people as resources, and you need to map them out into projects or initiatives, then it's going to be really difficult working agile. What we want instead is a cost-based funding, right? So you can focus your energy on what to deliver. We know what people are going to get in their salaries. We know what their wages are. So let's get that out of the way, right? And focus on what to deliver with those costs. Easier said than done, isn't it?
So let's introduce some KPIs then. That sort of management makes they're happy about KPIs.
Okay. What do you have, Mikkel?
I've got some good ones here. So I've got the number of teams involved in our scaled agile setup.
Oh, so that's an indicator of how successful we are with our agile transformation?
It must be, yeah.
Well, not really, right? It only shows you how many dependencies you have.
Okay, how about this one then? The number of certified colleagues. The more the merrier, the more the better, right?
At least it gives them some sort of theoretical foundation, but doesn't say anything about how well they are at applying it. But it's a good indicator of how much money you spent.
How about the team's velocity comparison? That's good. Right?
Wow, this is so bad, right? On multiple levels. So first of all, the team velocity or sprint velocity or whatever you want to call it, it's only for the team. You know, how much work or value have they delivered per time unit? Like story points per sprint or stories per sprint. It's only for the team. It's for the product owner to forecast together with the team and the scrum masters to kind of figure out, are there any variations, fluctuations in our velocity? It's not for someone outside to look at.
So scrum master, you say?
And not, they shouldn't even compare it. You should get fired if you compare velocity.
So the number of teams per scrum master, that's a good indicator.
The more, the better?
Yeah, then we're really mature.
So if a scrum master has 4 teams, it's going well.
Yeah, 5, 6
I
plus.
wouldn't say so, right? Because if a scrum master doesn't have to spend a lot of time with the team, maybe they should turn their attention towards the organization, right? If we free up scrum masters to work on the organization, we don't need dedicated agile coaches, right? Then we can do fun talks.
And then you're out of a job, so
I can do fun talks all day.
So I've got a hot one here.
Whoa.
That's a story point 2 hours conversion factor. Popular one.
That's the second reason to get fired, right? So it's okay that you have some sort of budget you need to adhere to and govern. Just, shield this away from the teams. They should only worry about their own velocity. Then someone outside it can convert it if they want, but don't involve the team, right? If you have this, project-based, cost center-based funding, then someone will probably need to do this, but don't involve the team.
So the ultimate measure of success, that must be the predictability, right? Higher predictability, and then we're successful.
Yeah, but then again, if we're 100% predictable, we don't need to work agile, right? So, do you have any suggestions on better indicators?
Maybe some, let's look at how much value we're delivering, right? And we could do that by asking the users or the customers.
Yeah, like NPS, Net Promoter Score?
Yeah, or something else, yeah.
And then we should also ask how happy our employees are, the team members. So, Employee Net Promoter Score, which asks, how willing are you, Mikkel, as a UXer at Vestas, to, advise other people to come work at Vestas as a UXer. So those two, and then I think lead time, so the time from idea to value consumption, not just value delivery, but value consumption, is another good indicator, right? So it's not about running faster and coding faster, it's about waiting less. Yeah?
Okay, I think we talked enough about management right now. So let's have a look at the team.
This is you guys.
Sorry in advance. So here's this epic that I want you guys to deliver.
Cool. Thank you, Mikkel. We'll have a look at it at our next refinement session.
So now I'm the developer, I guess. We've estimated the epic to be a total of 21 story points.
I didn't ask you to estimate it, Mikkel.
All right,
it's already been estimated by others a year ago.
Well, their estimate isn't valid for our team. Only the ones who'll do the work should estimate it.
I don't care about your principles. You have a budget of 80 hours to deliver the epic.
But that's definitely not enough for us.
Well, could you just then, create some technical debt?
What is this technical debt?
Well, it's shortcuts, right, that we take to meet a budget sometimes. It should be a proactive choice, But it doesn't mean that we should, decrease the quality of the work. It should mean that we decrease the scope, right? That's what we should ideally do, right? So in Agile, we keep the budget and the timeline fixed, but the scope can be changed as we want with our customers, but not necessarily the quality. Technical debt is not, a trick we should use to just meet budgets. At least if we do it, track it, and remember to pay it back at some time.
So we'll have a look at the technical debt later as well.
Yeah. So Mikkel, how can I help you?
It hurts when I turn my head.
Okay, and how long has this been going on?
Well, for the last couple of weeks, I think.
Did anything significant happen that could have caused it?
Yeah, the only other COBOL developer quit.
And for those who don't get it,
it's a bottleneck.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So this is a risk. This is a risk, right?
Okay.
Lars gets it. Well, this is the first joke they get. What?
Yeah.
So okay. So a little bit more about the bottleneck. So too often, Mikkel, our other teams are dependent on you guys implementing changes in your platform before they can deliver their features. Your team is a bottleneck, so this is a platform team, right? So, click. Therefore, we'll disperse all of you developers in the platform team into the other teams. So your capabilities will be built into all teams, and the dependencies will disappear.
By magic.
So, Mikkel, how's it going with not waiting for the platform team?
Well, now the bottleneck is within our team.
Oh, yes, she's sitting there.
Yeah. So what can we do about that?
Well, first of all, bottlenecks are risks, right? So we should do something about it. But maybe there aren't other developers who want to learn COBOL. I don't know. I heard there's a lot of money in being an expert in COBOL, but what we want to do is not just disperse people into the teams, but actually facilitate that the knowledge is shared. It could be through social programming stuff, like pair programming or mob programming, collective refinement, or figuring out how much they can share in an environment, for instance, right? And have people just work together, talk together. But it's a whole different question on motivation, right? That's kind of out of scope here. But you're not done by just putting people into other teams. Yes.
Everyone, meet Sandy. She's our newest developer, fresh out of university.
Hi all, nice to meet you.
Sandy has just taken a Scrum course. So Sandy, if you see us compromise too much on the Scrum essentials, don't hesitate to let us know.
Okay.
So at the daily Scrum. So Sandy, you're up next.
Well, I couldn't log on to my computer yesterday morning.
Oh, why didn't you ask for help yesterday then?
Well, because we only bring up impediments to the sprint goal at the daily Scrum. Yeah. You don't talk about stuff before the daily Scrum, right? Wrong. Right? Impediments. First of all, it's not just the Scrum Master who should fix impediments. Everyone should be able to fix impediments if you have them, right? But make sure that the root cause of the impediment is also addressed. So if you feel there's an impediment, attack it instantly. It's going a bit slowly with transitioning. Is it phone?
I think it's the iPad. I need a
Okay.
new one. So, DevOps. We all know DevOps. That's so popular right now, right? DevOps is more than the bringing development and operation together.
It's also about aligning teams to the company strategy and organizing along your value streams.
It's about enabling continuous flow of discovery, delivery, integration, and deployment. And setting up metrics to enable data-driven decision making.
So, Mikkel, you're saying it's basically just Agile done right.
Yes, but if you call it DevOps, the developers will actually support it.
Okay. Great. Let's move on to the next one. I think that one is about DevOps as well. So here's Diana, your new DevOps engineer.
Hi, guys.
But Mikkel, what exactly is a DevOps engineer?
Well, a developer experienced in DevOps so they can help accelerate our DevOps journey.
Oh, okay. So Diana, what experience do you have?
I've been a developer in several companies where we transitioned from only doing development to also doing operations.
Okay. Someone who'll do ops. Yay.
So that's pretty that's pretty sad.
Yes. So what the challenge is with the DevOps, right, is that many developers are used to just developing. Now all of a sudden they're kind of forced to owning what they build and running it and operating it, right? It used to be done by some boring people or on the other side of the wall, but now you have to bring it into your team. So this is a change, right, that you should manage. We're doing it in our company right now. I don't know how successful we are, but we're meeting people who don't want to do this, right? So it's all about articulating why it's important to own a product and be autonomous, and what does it even mean to own a product. It's about looking at the life cycle, not just delivery and throw it all over the wall, but actually owning it until it's sunset, right? So you have to operate if you develop.
I'm so happy that both management and our customers understand the importance of working agile when our domain is so complex.
Yes, moving away from the enormous requirements specification phase up front has really helped us adapt as we get wiser.
Now I'm actually an architect. Ooh. Hi guys.
Hi Alan, the architect. Where have you been the last couple of weeks?
At home making our target architecture. Here you go. So, what is a target architecture and why is that a problem?
Well,
that I've been at home working on that for several weeks.
So the problem with taking this approach to kind of defining where we want to go with the architecture is that it's almost as waterfall-y as doing it with your requirements, right? Back in the days, you know, a really good architect had to kind of think everything through and come with the ultimate, you know, architecture that we all kind of meet. But now we want to, you know, accept that it can actually change, right? What we want to avoid is the next picture here, that they're sitting up in their towers.
So that's a good overview you have up there, right? You can sort of see everything down below, way down below.
But you can't see what it is you're looking at, right? So we want to have these guys join the teams, right? And start talking about emergent architecture, evolutionary architecture, all these fancy words. But too many fancy words.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about this person then, the Scrum Master. And she's got a list. I think it's a story points to hours conversion list she's got there. So the first agile thing that we do as we start our Scrum journey, we'll kick off today with this new morning meeting called a daily Scrum. And John, why don't you start?
Oh, I'm here. Okay, so John gets it, right? So as our sprint goal is to create a service for retrieving historical data, I'm setting up a microservice template but I'm stuck because...
Wait. I'd like you to share how many hours you spent so far and how many hours are remaining.
Well, Mikkel, I don't think we're supposed to...
Don't worry, as long as you're standing up, we're doing it right.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So, the purpose of the daily Scrum is not reporting on your budget, right? Or your progress necessarily. It's about inspecting the plan you made for the sprint. Is anything keeping you from working towards the sprint goal? As we remember, all the Scrum events are about inspecting something. And the daily Scrum is about inspecting your sprint plan, right? That's the only thing we talk about. Not all this crazy BS.
Okay, so there's actually a lot of things riding on this Scrum Master. It seems like it's a tough role to be a Scrum Master. So we need a person like this. Could be a girl or a boy, someone who's been to war and really taken the scars from all that experience. Someone with a tattoo on the chest.
That's all fine and dandy, Mikkel. But what is it we end up with in the organizations?
Yeah. So the junior, right? They're cheap, and come on, the Scrum Master. It's just a master of ceremonies, right?
Yeah.
Calling in for meetings and rebooking conference rooms and all that.
You can almost have a student worker do this, actually, right? Wrong. So Scrum Master role is you know, it's like an agile coach. You don't just call in for meetings. It's also about mentoring, coaching, change management, managing the psychological dynamics of a team, kind of spotting if someone is holding back and managing conflicts. How can you do that freshly out of BSS, right? You need to have, I think personally at least, you need to have been part of a team and kind of experience it somehow before you start taking this role. Yeah.
So we've got 2 agile coaches, and since we've only one real, then I'll be the one with the long hair, right? I really think we as agile coaches should become better at asking the right questions and listening more, Luxshan.
Yes, we should coach others to find the solutions themselves instead of always just telling them how. So, later.
Yeah, so now I'm a Scrum Master. Our stories always have spillover, and we never meet our sprint goal, Luxshan.
And
Why is that?
Why is that, Mikkel? I'm asking you, why
Sorry.
is that?
I don't know, maybe because we are working with new technology.
How could you manage that?
I don't know, that's why I'm asking you.
So, what are you feeling right now?
So, too good of a coach, right?
Yeah. So I think we have to understand also what an agile coach is, right? This is one of the stances where you actually coach. Well, this is not a good example, but you're also seen as someone who's an expert on these ways of working. Agile is basically a way of working, right? It's not a goal in itself, but someone who knows stuff about it. But I think coaching is something we're not really good at, not too many of us at least, and we should start doing more of it. And that can move organizations.
Let's have a look at the product owner.
Are you feeling okay now?
Yeah, I'm
Good.
better.
So he's sad. Why is he sad, Mikkel?
It's not only because he doesn't have a computer.
Hmm.
He doesn't even have a product.
He doesn't have a product.
He doesn't own anything.
So it's so great to have someone from the business take up the PO role.
I'm also really happy to get closer to you guys. It's all about bridging the gap between business and you engineers so we can become one team.
Great. Let's get started. And then a developer has a question.
Of course.
So, Mikkel, should we prepare our backend for future vertical scaling, or should our focus rather be on normalizing the data for improving the performance? Yeah, and we're missing some non-functional requirements as well.
But what I hear is... And come on, no one understands developers. They talk in a special language.
They do.
And
Python.
Yes, and COBOL.
But what we want here is for the communication between developers and product owners to be good, right? And it's typically on the developers, right? To speak normal people language, right? So what does it mean that we're not meeting the non-functional requirements? What does it mean for the end user? Is it a much worse experience than else, right? Or security or compliance not being met or whatever? Translate it into something that even Mikkel can understand, please.
That's a hard ask.
Yes.
Okay, now you can be a product owner and I can ask you. It seems that we can only deliver one of the 2 stories we expected this sprint. So should we follow the backlog priority and just take the top one?
Let me get back to you on that. So I ask my boss, should we prioritize this story or that story?
Let me get back to you on that. And then I go and ask the CEO, should we prioritize this story or that story?
What's the story? So what?
So you're back.
I'm back with the developer. No, please take the next one in the backlog.
Okay, Luxshan, how come?
Let me get back to you on that.
So you need to talk to a lot of people, and that's not a problem, isn't it? Is it?
It is a problem. I think it's going to slow things down. So I think the product owner is maybe the most important role in having teams work agile, right? An empowered product owner, right? They can take decisions on what direction the team should go, what direction the product should go, right? They're accountable for you spending the time of these very expensive developers, and you are expensive, guys, in the right direction. So if they're not empowered, it's going to take a long time to take a decision and be adaptable, right? Empowered product owners is what we want, and that's not happening out there.
I think there's one here then. So I'm a customer, and I'm asking you, so could you add a historical view to the performance of the application? Or something?
Great suggestion, Mikkel. Let me talk to my immediate internal stakeholder group and get back to you. Just take a sec.
That doesn't seem very immediate, that one.
it's
That group.
galactically big, isn't it?
It is pretty big, yeah.
So what we want to do, and I was a product owner at Vestas, right?
It looked like that.
It looked like this. All the stakeholders, you are the UX on the team. We had to talk to so many people. So please start categorizing these stakeholders. And believe me, more stakeholders than you think are actually okay with just getting an email, right? And others need to sit in your lap. But just because you're in an enterprise doesn't mean you have to talk to this many people to take a decision.
Okay, then I've got a picture of a happy product owner.
Yeah, let's see.
This one.
Ah.
Look how happy he is, right? Shiny new ships, a lot of new features on top, projectors and antennas and radars and all that. And he's pointing in the right direction and all that. No problem here.
But somebody is not happy here, right? The developers are struggling to kind of keep the boat afloat. They're gluing stuff together and, is this how your products look? Sometimes it is, right? So this is what happens if we're not able to build in quality into our features, if that's what you work with, right? And if you're in this state, then we can start making these enablers, like explicitly do some sort of containers to reduce the technical depth or refactor the code or redo the architecture gradually or something like that. But ideally, we want to build in quality, typically in the form of non-functional requirements from the beginning. Not when, it's gonna sink.
Here's one for you.
Yay. So I'm an internal agile coach now, right? And that's what I am. And we're nearing the end now. So now is when you need to listen. Based on my observation, interviews, and metadata from deployment pipelines from numerous teams, I strongly suggest that we invest in removing our dependencies to accelerate our team's delivery of value.
Luxshan. You're too ideological. That might work in theory, but come on, this is real life.
Okay. So now I'll try again. Now I'm an external agile coach. You have many dependencies. You need safe.
Take our money.
Easy peasy.
Just quit your day job and become an agile coach.
So if we can go back to that one, if this happens to you at some point, right, then have a think about what you're doing here. Scaling frameworks are good to manage dependencies, but they're not going to remove dependencies, right? So what we want is to invest in removing dependencies and then, using the minimum overhead we need to manage the rest. We're not going to remove all dependencies everywhere. But maybe we could look at how teams interact with each other. Team topologies has some suggestions on how to interface between teams. But don't just go out and invest in a huge scaling framework just because you have dependencies. Try to remove them first. Yeah.
So dependencies on the PI planning. It's really great. It gets all the teams together, so we'll be able to map these dependencies on a big thing called a program board.
So Mikkel, how's the planning going?
Pretty good. It's so great to align all the dependencies, and we've been needing this overview for ages.
So how does it look? Okay.
Well, you've got an overview of that you've got a lot of dependencies there, right?
Yeah.
Both to the plant and to the trash can.
So if you do these PI plannings, this is how your first ones are typically gonna look.
And this is based on real life. This
is based on real life, or Vestas at least, right? And then what you see from one PI planning to the next is that you get fewer and fewer red lines, and that's what it should be about. Is actually removing these dependencies, right? But visualizing them can be a first step. Yeah.
Okay, so all this it's just fiction, but now we have an actual scientific pie chart.
Yeah, we made a big survey.
And these are the reasons why organizations go agile.
Okay. Yeah.
First one.
Because their competitors do.
Oh yeah.
About a third of our respondents responded this, right? What did the other third say?
To better meet both the budget, timeline, and the scope.
Also a very bad idea. What about the last one?
To fool skilled people like you to come working for them.
That's also pretty popular reason. But there's a small pie as well that our survey showed. What was that?
To increase the value add through empowered teams that adapt.
We hope that this becomes the dominant reason for organization to go agile, right? This is what agile can do. Agile is basically just a way of working, right? But this is the outcome we're looking for. one of the outcomes we're looking for, right? So what we have to remember is that going agile, or using Scrum or Safe or whatever you want to use, using Scrum to become agile is a bit like using a scale to lose weight. And I tried that. It doesn't really help in itself, right? So you have to change some habits to start losing weight, but it'll show you what's wrong. So why are there so many red blocked stories up on your wall? Why do you have dependencies to the data warehouse team all the time? Could be for security reasons. It could be because of competency reasons. Why do you have dependencies to a release team? Why do you even have a release team? Progression test team? Why don't you do it in your own team, right? So figure out what's keeping you from actually losing weight and change the habits. And that's the difficult part.
Yeah. So the easy part, it is to articulate your mistakes. And that's sort of our takeaway here. That we have to talk about what we're doing wrong in order to learn from it.
And the organizations, they must work agile in some sort of way, or trying to at least. So you are going to fail, we're all going to fail, but it's kind of part of the journey, right? But we want you to laugh about it, articulate it, maybe through comic strips, maybe through a dance or a painting, and reflect so you can eventually improve.